Hey guys, my name's Lane with Atlanta Motorcycle Works. We're here to talk about this CB750 that we've built here in the shop. This was pretty much our first go at a full teardown and rebuild in a cafe type of format. So it's pretty much a full restoration with a cafe build on top of it. Um, Micah actually did a lot of the work on this thing. He did we had a few different people working on it. Some aren't here with the shop anymore, but Micah had the pleasure of basically taking all the parts and pieces and doing the final assembly on everything and getting it wired up. So I'll let him kind of talk through a couple of things that he had problems with or things that he had fun with. Um, Doing builds like this is always going to be a little bit of fun and hate kind of deal, but
yeah, man, this one was really cool. Right when I started at the shop, one of the first things I did, they were like, man, we've been working on this bike, and we've got the motor built, and we've got all the body work, and we've got all the paint and everything, and we just need you to put it together. So I was like, cool, man, and wired it up completely from scratch. It was actually the first bike I'd built a complete wiring harness on. Um, the install went pretty easy, and the tuning went pretty good. You know, even with the velocity stacks, it's a nice crisp throttle response. It runs really, really well, really quick. Um, and overall, man, I'm super happy with how it all turned out. I think we got the Tarazi rear sets on it, so it's a nice touch. Um, but it's a great bike, man. A lot of fun to ride. Sounds awesome. Don't know that I'd change anything about it, really. It honestly didn't give me too much trouble going together. Everything was pretty straightforward.
so running through the bike, some of the finer details. We'll start kind of work our way from the front to the back. Um, we opted for the dual disc setup for the 750. It's not really just a straight bolt on the same caliper for the left on the right side. There's a little bit of spacing issue. The forks are actually a little bit different. On the right side, you actually have less material on the fender mounting points and the brake caliper mounting points. I think there's about a 3 millimeter difference. So you have to do a little bit of spacing here and there, just kind of shimming up with some washers and stuff. But we vapor honed the calipers. That was pretty tough there, just because the caliper paint, if you've ever tried to remove that, that's a very durable paint. And so that took some time to get these nice and clean. We polished basically where the piston bore comes to an end on the caliper here. We polished that area. We had the rotors drilled, which kind of adds a little bit of a racier look. Also helps with heat dissipation, and you get better braking power in the rain. The hubs were powder coated black. We laced up the sun rims, and those are black as well with stainless spokes and stainless nipples. Those turned out really, really great. The forks were vapor honed and polished, and we also had those powder coated clear, just to kind of help protect that finish. On the inside of the forks is really nice. We actually have gold valve cartridge emulators as well. So though it's the stock suspension in the front, the internals are going to act just like a modern sport bike with cartridge style suspension instead of using a damper rod. So that's a really nice touch. It's going to handle great. Moving forward and up, we've got the fiberglass fairing there. That came as a solid fairing, so we had to drill and cut out for the headlight. That turned out great. It was a really nice tight fit. We got the Gustafson windscreen on it, and that looks really great. You can get those in a few different shapes and sizes and in a few different styles. Let's see, we've got a GPS speedometer that we had specially made for us. So it's got our logo in there, which is a really nice touch as well. It works off of GPS, so the wiring is to a minimal. You don't have to run any speedometer or tachometer cables. That's really nice, helps keep the build nice and clean. We do have a stock ignition switch. Then we've got a really nice kind of racy feature here with the push start button here and a toggle switch for the ignition. We've got the Vortex clip-ons on it, which for this particular bike, the seating position is actually really nice. It's not too far over the front. You're not putting too much on your wrist. It's just a really nice seating position. It is a fiberglass gas tank that we had. We custom mounted that. Um, had to weld some tabs to the frame and get it mounted, but it looks great. Got everything nice and centered in. We've got the rear section hooped. This is a metal cafe tail section. We've got the rear hooped with the inset LED light, and that turned out really nice. The rear suspension are Fox Podium RS series shocks, just to kind of round it out. We didn't want to do a really nice setup in the front and then kind of slack on the rear, so we opted for a really nice suspension set in the rear as well. Same thing as the front wheel with the black powder coat on the hub. We had those laced up to the black sun rims as well. The brake stay and brake rod, both of those are aftermarket as well as the chain adjusters. It just kind of gives it, again, a really nice racy feel to it. The engine itself is a 750 bored out to an 836 kit, so it's going to pack a little bit more of a punch than a stock 750. But everything on that was painted, and then all the covers were powder coated in black, and so it's just a really nice, clean, durable look. The pipe is a ceramic coated 4-into-1. It's kind of a Yosh style pipe. It sounds great. It looks really good. We have the vertical oil tank in it. We actually had a custom made oil tank that fit perfectly underneath the cafe cone. Unfortunately, that had some venting issues, and so it kept on overflowing, and nobody wants oil pouring out on your rear tire. So we had to ditch that idea and go with the vertical oil tank, which, since we've got that on, no issues at all. That's a great product. Like Micah was saying, we've got the Tarazi rear sets, and those are really nice. It's a very high quality product. I'm not sure that they make those anymore. I haven't seen that particular style, but again, it's a really nice product. Again, with the carbs, we've got the top caps were powder coated black, and the float bowls were powder coated black as well. We've got velocity stacks, which honestly can be a bit of an issue, especially if you plan on riding the bike a lot. I think what we'll probably end up doing is when we take it on the street, we will probably put pod filters on it, just to kind of keep some of that street dust, dirt from getting into the engine. If you're running on a track, you don't really have that problem. You don't have a whole lot of street dust, construction work going on, not a lot of dirt in the air. So you really don't have to worry about that too hard. So for now, for looks, and it actually runs great with the velocity stacks right now, but I think for street use, we probably will put some pod filters on it. But yeah, overall, this bike has pretty much been gone through every nut and bolt. Like I said, it's pretty much a restoration quality cafe build. So this is a really good example of what we can do here at our shop. A really good example that we can take around to shows. We don't really have to rely on a customer to say, hey, can we borrow your bike? So we built this one for the shop, just so we can kind of basically show off, really. But other than that, it's a really, really solid bike. Not really much else you could have done or that I would personally do to any different, really.
Well, nothing better to do now than hear it, man. So somebody wants to get on it and crank it.
Michael, go for it.
And I see somebody commenting on there. Again, this is a 750, but it's a big bore, so it's got the 836 kit in it. Wonderful. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in and watching and keeping us busy every week making these awesome videos. So we hope you enjoyed this one. Catch us again next week at Wednesday, 12 o'clock noon.